Bengals Show and The Grueling Truth is powered by betting.net. Betting.net is your best bet for finding the online casino or sportsbook that's right for you. Make sure you check them out at betting.net. I am your host for the Bengals Weekly Show, Mike Goodpaster. Right now, I'd like to welcome in my two co-hosts. We'll start off with Ty Robbins from Ty's Take. You can see him on Stripe Hype and The Grueling Truth. How you doing, Ty?
What's up, Bengal Nation? 7 in a row, about to be 8. We got to go out there and take care of business on Monday night. I can tell you this from the Miami game and some of the games at home, that place is going to be rocking. You know, I don't know how many of the Buffalo fans will be there, but the Mafia, but it is going to be packed. It's going to be rocking. It's going to be live, and we got Joe Burrow and company, so I'm excited to see what happens.
And we've got Joe Kelly and company. Joe Kelly, 1988 linebacker for the AFC champion Cincinnati Bengals. How you doing tonight, Joe?
Great day to be a Bengal, man. The city's on fire again. We got Buffalo coming to town. Bad boys of the NFL, and they're supposed to be the top. So, I think this is a game that is going to confidence-wise, whether or not we feel that we can go to the Super Bowl and win it. When you can beat Kansas City and Buffalo in the same year, there's not any other teams that are more well-rounded than both. I think that from a confidence level, we go in here and we get this victory Monday night. Insane, man. It's going to be insane.
All right, and we look back. The Bengals played a perfect first half against the New England Patriots, an atrocious second half against the Patriots. The guys, everything we wanted went down the toilet in that fourth quarter. But they did win the game, and my point is like this. It's just like when people gave the Cowboys crap about barely beating the Texans. The difference between really good teams and teams that aren't that good is the fact that you can win a game where you struggle. I mean, the teams like the Cowboys in the past lose those games. Teams like the Bengals in the past lose those games. So the fact that they were able to make a play at the end of that game, Joe, it's actually a good thing because you're not going to play your best all the time.
Well, what is that? When you look at New England, you're playing up in New England, you're on the road, you got them in the mouth, you get in and you go up, and it's 22-0. Players that are capable of going to the Super Bowl and being a top tier team. Yes, we're still a relatively young team. So when you look at that, I think it was about adjustments or lack of adjustments. I think we went in the first half. We dominated those guys, and you went in the locker room. Those dudes don't get paid. They're going to pick up a paycheck on Monday as well. New England, they were at home. They fought back. But like you said, man, I'm so grateful to take an ugly victory all day losses for a long time. So, I take an ugly loss, a check team any day of the week.
Yeah, and the bad thing coming away from this tie, and we've talked about it before, a lot of this winning a Super Bowl is being lucky, especially when it comes to injuries. Starting right tackle La'el Collins is out for the season. That means Hakeem Adeniji is the next man up. So what do you think about the prospects there with Adeniji?
Well, the good thing is he's not coming off the bench cold. He's been practicing with these guys all year, working in and out. He's been in several of the plays when they needed an extra tackle to come in. So he knows what to do. It was whether he can, go out and perform what he has to do. I heard that Isaiah Prince will probably call him up just for backup. And who knows, they may even rotate these guys if they need to, or have the tight end chip a little bit, or wherever they need to keep Burrow up and upright. So I think everybody was talking about Whitworth for a while and coming in and that's exciting when you stop and thought about it for a moment. To have somebody like Andrew Whitworth, finish his career last year, and then possibly come back in this year. And there was a lot of talk, but I don't think that's a reality. And I think Coach Zach Taylor, kind of addressed that in his weekly conference. When he was asked about it, and he said, we're good with what we got right here. So I think that's what they're rolling with, and that's what we're going to see. And
but that's a lie, Ty. I mean, if we were good with what we had here, then they wouldn't have tried to replace Adeniji.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you got what you got. Next man up, and it seemed to be working so far. When you look at Cam Sample taking over for Sam, and Joseph.
Yeah, but Cam Sample's a good football player.
Well, we'll see. Yes, we'll see.
Well, I mean, I'm serious. I mean, you look at it. I mean, you got Irwin who steps up when Chase gets hurt, and Taylor steps up when Chase gets hurt. But this is Adeniji. We know he can't play.
Yeah, but I look at Adeniji was there, and they made it to the Super Bowl. So
and they lost.
What else? You don't have much options here. You're going to pull somebody off of. That hasn't been playing all year. You don't know if they're in shape. Your options are limited. So at least you have some backup, and he's played. What level can he play at? Well, we'll have to see. But
we know against the Patriots, he looked like a fish out of water.
Judon's a tough guy to play against, right?
So
right, Joe?
Greg Rousseau.
And from here, it gets tougher. You look at it. But I think he's obviously not the answer. If something goes wrong, it is what it is. We know what he.
We got no choice right now, Joe.
So if you were to be fortunate to get a guy like Whitworth, I'm looking at the waiver wire, you're looking at practice squads. You're probably going to get. So, I don't think there's anybody out there. And when you're talking about getting a guy that, you just need him to play 1 or 2 games.
But the issue with that, Joe, real quick, Joe, I can tell you this. I was talking to Bengal Jim today. We both know him. He's going to have Whitworth on his show next Tuesday night. And he sent me the text that Whitworth sent him. He said he would love to play. But right now, he's like 40 to 50 pounds under his playing weight, and he's never played right tackle in his life. But I think losing the weight after he retired keeps that from happening. But I think Whitworth at 140 would be better than Adeniji.
Yeah. Whitworth at any weight, it'll just be conditioning. So at the end of the day, that would be something good. It's just unfortunate. We have to look at it like this, man. We're not the only team that is suffering injuries, and we can get Sam Hubbard healthy. With trade maybe with 6 or 7 plays, and we still were able to win and sample from those guys. Those guys are, but if you look at the game and you study, we are not getting pushed. We're not getting the effective play from our D-line. Sam and Trey, obviously. So we definitely we're gonna run, and we definitely gonna need those 2 guys back, and hopefully that's gonna help the tackle, because that's what we have. Collins is definitely out, so it's tough, but I don't think we can milk, man. We are where we are. We've 7 in a row. We're relative, that's we've got 2 and now injuries that have really were vital parts of our. We're going to have to suck it up. I still think that we are still capable of going to the Super Bowl and winning it right now.
Yeah, this is still a better offensive line than it was last year.
Oh, it's not even. You see those guys. Our interior guys are kicking ass. You can kick an ass. Joe is not getting, pushed. The bubble is not making him. So those guys are balling, man. So it's next man up. That hopefully we can run some things, and we can devise some things to give this cat help, because his footwork was just as awful Sunday as it was when the last. So that's what it is. That's who we have, and he's a professional football player. He's in it. He has to be a point where don't be the reason that we don't get to that next level.
Yeah, and when we look at this game against the Buffalo Bills, I think number one, we look at the Bills' offense. I think the Bengals, they won't be able to run the ball with their running backs, I don't believe. I don't think their running game is that great. Really, I don't think the Bills' offensive line is that great. Ty, when you look at this, I mean, DJ Reader, I think, is going to shut down their run game. But the thing you got to worry about is the legs on the quarterback. The quarterback's 6'5", 240 pounds, and he can run. That's an issue. Plus, you got Gabe Davis, you got Stephon Diggs. This is the best offense we've faced this year, I think.
Yeah, they're definitely going to have to put pressure on Josh Allen for sure, and put somebody in there to spy him, make sure he just doesn't take off and run, because he has the ability to get those first downs by doing that. But DJ Reader's a hell of a player, and he got snubbed for the Pro Bowl. So, last week he really had a great game, and I think he wanted to show everybody on Christmas Eve what he was made of. And I think he's going to do it again on prime time on a Monday night and say, hey, look, man, you guys overlooked me. And I think he's going to get in the backfield more than one time. Devin Singletary and James Cook, those guys, even though Singletary had a 100-yard game last week, one of the first times, I think our defense is going to shut them down with everybody. And, they even said Hubbard practiced today. So that's a good sign. If Hubbard gets out there, there's going to be a lot of pressure. And they should be able to contain Josh Allen to a certain degree, when they get playing. They did with Lamar, they did with Mahomes. And so I think they're going to put pressure on him. Now, getting him down at 6'5", that's a whole other ballgame.
Yeah, and I also think this. I think when you look at this, the Bills are averaging 28 points per game, fourth in the NFL. The Bengals average 26, sixth in the NFL. When you look at defense, though, both teams are top 10 defenses. I think this could be the two most complete teams in football. Both teams have a 1,000-yard receiver. Of course, the Bengals, Jamar Chase is 40 yards from them having two of them. And I think the important aspect here is which secondary is better. And I know the Bengals have taken some injuries, but it looks like Hilton will play. Of course, Owuzi's out for this season. But when you look at the Bengals and Bills secondary, I watched the Bills secondary against Tua and that Dolphins offense. They were absolutely atrocious. I think the weakness of the Buffalo Bills, and we saw it when they played the Chiefs last year in the playoffs, is Leslie Frazier and his cover two defense, Joe.
Yeah, you look at it. I think Leslie has learned a season. A veteran, he's a veteran coach, and I played too safe last year. But when we talking about, I'm really in the Bengals where they are as a team. But at the same time, right now, and going to this game and thinking that that we're so overconfident that we're just going to go out and just get it done. Buffalo has a good ass team. They're a sound team. They have some weaknesses, obviously, here and there. Their offense can move the ball. They're just not going to sit up here and, no, it's not Cleveland, but the guy can run and is a playmaker. So he's the truth. And then you look at Josh. Josh is a guy to destroy you with his feet. He can throw the ball. So when you're low, and I kind of look at how the defense played against New England. We were, Mac Jones was sitting there. He ate a couple sandwiches a couple times. Just kind of pressure. DJ was getting the push. With Josh Allen, we're going. This guy is good enough that this guy can rush for 100 yards. Again, not only we're going to have to play solid, in the defensive backfield, but contain. We're going to have to not invert the line of scrimmage. We're going to have to have, we're going to have to, when we're dropping back and, hook the curl areas, flats that we're covering at the same time, being cognizant and aware of Josh. So I think this team is just as good as Kansas City, if not better. They're coming in, and this is they've been all year as well. So they're coming in. I'm hoping that and I don't think I don't have any doubt that our guys are going to. But in the same time, those guys are going to be ready. Those guys are going to be ready. So hey, lunch pails to work. I think if we bring our lunch pails to work, it's going to be a great game. I think it's going to be it's a game. I say we can win, and that's not making a lot of mistakes, not allowing Josh to get the 30-yard runs, the 20-yard runs, 8-9 yards. But if he's hitting us with those, 20-yard, 30-yard scrambles, that's going to affect your calling. And then, Stephon Diggs over top. So, we have a work. This is that game that you're going to look at and say, this is what we did, and we know we are a Super Bowl caliber team.
Well, see, I think the problem here is by playing Buffalo on Monday night, Sunday night the Steelers play the Ravens. If the Ravens beat the Steelers, next Sunday's game's even bigger than Monday night's game. Mm-hmm. And that makes this really difficult, if you know what I mean. I mean, because if you were to go out and beat the Bills and then lose to the Ravens, it's possible you're the 5 seed, where you could actually go lose to the Bills, beat the Ravens, and be the 3 seed. So, I mean, right now, these next 2 weeks are going to tell the tale for what's going to happen with the Bengals. As a 5 seed, it's much more difficult. You go to Jacksonville or Tennessee, but it's after coming off playing these 2 hard-ass games in a row, and then you're going to have to go to Kansas City and then Buffalo, or Buffalo and then Kansas City. So my concern is whether they're ready to play by the time you get to next Sunday, because that's the bigger of the 2 games right now. Hopefully the Pittsburgh Steelers can take care of that and beat the Baltimore Ravens on Sunday night. But I'm not going to hold my breath that Kenny Pickett and the Steelers are going to beat anybody, but we know it'll be a close game because every Ravens game, it seems, is decided by 3 points. Now, the other thing here, and how much does this have to do with this, Joe? From 2015 to 2017, Logan Wilson was on the same team as Josh Allen. Do you think that familiarity helps Josh Allen in defending him, or is that so long ago it doesn't really matter now?
No, it's so long ago, and that's college, man. And both of them are both of them are well seasoned veterans now. Logan, is coming in. He's one of the most balanced linebackers in the league, playing against the pass, playing against the run, running the offense, getting our guys and making sure they're in the right areas and hitting the right gaps, so on and so forth. So he's doing his thing. So when you know what a guy's skill set is, but that has nothing to do with when you talk offenses. Buffalo has a style. They have a scheme. There's certain areas that they do in certain areas than they are than one thing. So when you look at it, he's not. I know his skill set. So he's gonna and he can tell this guy is fast. This guy can throw that 15-yard out on a dot. So you can talk about skill set, but when it comes to the game and the schemes, and he has a job to do, and his job is not to stop Josh. His job is going to execute the game plan, execute the call that he makes, executing a man, making a play, and that's how he can contribute. But it doesn't want that or anything like that.
I think it helps when you practice with somebody that long, even though it's in college, you pick up tendencies that they have. In fact, Logan Wilson was on Kay Adams' podcast recently, and they said, what's it going to be like to tackle him? He said, well, I just don't want to get leapfrogged over, right? So he knows that if I go low, this guy will jump over me. He may know that he likes to run a certain way or to the right. So I think that helps, key in. And somebody has to key in on him because you can't just let him run free. You have a lot of those like Tom Brady are basically pocket quarterbacks, right? But with a Josh Allen, he can hurt you with his legs. So you're going to have to
Yeah, so
have
how about this? And I'll take both of you on this. But if I'm playing a quarterback like this, is it better not to necessarily just go after his ass, Joe? Is it better to? It's like Big Ben Roethlisberger. Teams that really defended him well had a tendency to kind of sit their defensive tackles. You let the ends pressure, but there's nowhere for him to run around and extend the play.
Yeah. So when you look at and you got to look at the caliber of their skill set. So you look at Josh. Josh is he's in Lamar's categories because he can beat you with his arm as well. So it's discipline. In your defense about being disciplined in your calls. I think Lou has done tremendous with. I don't foresee us saying, okay, here. You remember how we did Kansas City in the second half and where we had four front four, boom. Now you didn't know which one of those 2-3, and now we got Sam, we got Trey shadowing him. I don't know if we're going to do and go go to that if his running becomes. It's about change. I think with him, you have to keep him on his toes. I think we're a good mixture. You see, even last week we had a couple of blitzes with our safeties, bringing that. Keep a game plan, keeping it open, and I don't think we can just say, okay, we're going to sit down and we're going to have a guy shadow him. Nor do I think that you're going to say, okay, here was 8 and be successful, because then you got one of the best receivers in the league. That means that it's one-on-one, and sometimes it's one-on-one without any help over top. So you have to look at it. We played them. You studied. You had all year to study and we just have to be true to whatever defensive scheme that Lou has come up with.
All right. We will get to who we're picking in a little bit, but the one thing I do know about this game, this is very similar to what we've seen in 2 other seasons. That would have been 1981, 1988 with the Bengals and the Bills. 1981, I think the Bengals were 2-1. They were playing a Buffalo Bills team that was considered one of the favorites to go to the Super Bowl. They beat them on a 28-yard field goal by Jim Breach, 27-24 in overtime. Played again in the AFC Divisional Playoff, won 28-21. The thing about that game is the crowd noise won them that game because it was 28-21. Joe Ferguson throws a touchdown pass with under a minute left, but it was so loud nobody could even hear it. The officials had blown the play dead because of the delay of game. The Bills had to run the play again. Bengals win. 1988, I know Joe may remember this a little bit better than me. The Bengals come out. I think we jumped on them like 21-0, ended up beating 28-21, finished that up, winning the AFC Championship game 21-10. And the reason this game is so big is in 1988, you guys weren't chomping at the bit to go play in Buffalo, I don't think, Joe.
Absolutely not. No, who wants to go play in Buffalo?
People that play for Buffalo don't really play in Buffalo, Joe.
No, man. So, it was good. I remember they came in, but I think, our confidence level, and I'm hoping that then it's the same. We went into that game. They had some good defensive players. The three Hall of Famers on that team. We went in there confident. We went in there confident with our scheme that we can stop them. We could stop the run. Thurman Thomas. I don't even think they give the ball that many times to Thurman Thomas. I think they gave the ball to Thurman. But here are guys. The SWAT team was flying around, linebackers flying around, and Reggie and everybody was doing their thing, man. So I see the for this game almost as exciting as a playoff game back in '88.
Yeah, because that game in '88 was almost like a playoff game because the Bengals have been close to the playoffs the previous few years, except for '87, and hadn't gotten over the hump. It was the first time in 6 years they'd gotten there. And I think going into that Buffalo game, I think you guys were a game behind them, and there was like 4 or 5 games left. So a loss there would have almost killed you. And the thing that a lot of people don't realize there is y'all beat Washington to clinch the AFC Central the last game of the season. But it wasn't until the next day where you had home field against Buffalo, because Buffalo went to Indianapolis and the Colts upset the Bills by like 3 points, which is what gave the Bengals home field advantage all the way through.
Yeah, and Chip Lowmiller missed. I think he missed
29 yards.
He missed a chip shot field goal. That gave us. It is what it is, man. Any team that's won the Super Bowl, the ball, you had a ball bounce. But that'll happen here and there, man. But you still have to, for the most part, in all three areas. And right now, and I think we're clicking. We're clicking offensively. Teams, everybody's contributing, and it's a good mix. It's a good plan at a extremely high level. And I think right now, who was here? If it was Buffalo, Kansas City, Baltimore, Dallas, Philly, that game, sitting here on this podcast saying, I think we're that good that we can play and we can beat anybody. And I'm sure that if they're playing us, but like the saying is, why not us?
Yeah, and I'll tell you, there's been, the first Bengals game I ever attended was a Monday night game against the Buffalo Bills in 1975, which I was like 6 years old. I barely remember it, but it rained. O.J. Simpson ran for 192 yards. I think Kenny Anderson threw for like 490, and the Bengals won the game 34-23. So there's a lot of history between the Bengals and the Bills. And the good thing is those 5 main games we've ever played against each other, we've won every one of them. Will they make it 6 in a row tie Monday night?
Hey, I'm just excited about this game being in the jungle. You know what I mean? And like Joe said, when you got to come in and play in an atmosphere that's really, really loud, and there's a lot of pressure on this game for them to win, right? Because
they're number 1 seed if they win the next 2 games,
right? So but if a miracle happens in Denver or the Raiders can beat Kansas City, and
you not only want to hear that because the Raiders then got rid of their quarterback. Now Devontae Adams and Josh McDaniels is a worthless.
Somebody tell him, Joe, that we beat the Steelers with Ryan Finley. Anything can happen. Tell him.
I'm sorry. Have you seen Jared Stidham play football? And I'm sorry, that Steelers team that year was quarterbacked by a 40-year-old Ben Roethlisberger. So I think Patrick Mahomes may be slightly better, but I think Josh McDaniels is an absolute joke. And this is the bad thing. Rich Biasucci did one of the best. He probably should have been the coach of the year last year, winning 7 straight games with the Raiders. Got them to the playoffs. Hell, if you remember, 4th and goal, they had a chance to beat us in the playoffs, and then they get rid of his ass to bring Josh McDaniels in. So I don't think the issue here is Derek Carr. It's Josh McDaniels. Derek Carr is a good quarterback.
Well, I'm a former Raider, man, so I am, and it's tough because you got the pick of the litter when you got Devontae Adams free agency, but you have to look, here when you look at what the last years, their first round pick, all of them are gone. They cut last year's first round pick. So
and they got no offensive lineman.
Yeah, this is not Derek Carr's problem. Then you look at Ruggs, Gunn. You look at all these top tier guys, all his weapons. Are gone. You Cooper, you got rid of Amari Cooper. So here when you look at these, they've been deceived. So it's unfortunate in my opinion. I think they straws. And the quarterback is an easy position where you can point the finger, but where they are because of Derek Carr. I can guarantee you that. And in Cincinnati and Bengal Nation, that we have a dude that's real. But in the same time, this dude is surrounded. He's surrounded by some pretty good talent. Unfortunately, with Collins, we've improved the line, the offensive line. He got some weight, so it helps. It helps. So unfortunately, that situation. At the end of the day, we can sit up here and we can hope that Baltimore loses but at the end of the day, we have 2 games, baby. We got 2 games.
We win the 2 games. We're the 2 seed. I'll take that. We can play Miami or New England in the first round.
Yeah, we look at it, Ty. We don't win 10 games. Let's sit down. Today's a new day, man. Let's win 2. Let's win 2 games, baby, and win the driver's seat.
Hey, we win 2 games. That'll be the most games any Bengals team's ever won in a regular season, too.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely, man. And it's great.
That's what I'm saying.
And it's 2. We're down to 2. 7. Okay, you can keep that. That's done.
And the great thing, living through the 90s and the 2000s and everything, it is nice that right now we're going to finish the season with every game from here on out gets bigger and bigger. They're all huge. And I remember going for 15 years where we never had a big game from like 1991 to 2005. It's kind of nice to be relevant. And I mean, I don't like the Buffalo Bills now just because.
Yeah.
So, Ty, you didn't give us a score. I'm sure you're going to pick the Bengals because you picked them, even if God brought a football team down here, you'd probably pick the Bengals.
7 in a row. I'm on a roll. That's all I'm saying. I think it's going to be close. I think the defense is going to they're going to step up and really try and stop these 2 quarterbacks. But I think whoever gets the 30 is going to win this game. And I'm saying Bengals 31, Bills 24.
Now, the other stat that I saw, if you want to bet this game, if you want to bet it, betting.net finds the best promotions, offers, and bonus codes so you don't have to. Head over to their website now to take advantage of things like free bets and matching deposits. But the interesting stat I saw, the Bengals in their last 23 games against the spread are 20-3 against the spread. So this spread is bullshit anyways. I mean, on what world anybody comes to Cincinnati and is favored is a joke. We saw, I think, Kansas City came in here favored by 2 or 3. We saw how that worked out, Joe. That go work out about the same here? Joe Spellman says the Bengals 128, the Bills 3. Joe Spellman needs to get a new shtick. Go ahead.
Now you're discounting. Now we're overconfident.
I mean, there's no way the Bills are scoring, Joe. I agree.
Man, he's tripping. So were you Buffalo's going to come. They have just as much at stake as we do. Those guys, I look over there, man. I like their defense. I like some of the D-line. I like some of the linebackers. The safeties got really good safety. They got some really good offensive weapons, man. And so they're going to come in here. They're going to play. They're going to make more plays than them. That's it. I don't think we have to go out and play perfect. Unfortunate for them that Von is not playing. Thank God. It's going to help us out. So when you think about that, this team is capable of, I'm saying it's going to be a tough game. It's going to be 4 quarters. It's going to be 6. It may come down to, the team that has the ball last. Hopefully it doesn't, that we're going to win, that second to the last drive. It's going to be a good game. It's going to be a competitive game. I'm looking at a score of 28-24. I'm going with Hoot 8 Nation. But we got our work cut out, man. I think Stefan's going to make some plays. Josh is going to make some plays with his arms and his feet. Okay, let's live another day, baby. Play another down. Whatever happens, let's keep going. Because number 9, we got a special dude that when you look at, we were talking the other day, Mike, looking at his, it's scary. It's scary because he's throwing, Jabbar is not having, he's running straight. He's throwing that ball. You look at all those guys, Irwin, that ball placement is, but these got 2 defenders and he's getting them through a space like this. It's phenomenal to see, having played with some really good quarterbacks and seeing what this guy has. So I think with the Bengals and Bengal Nation, we have a guy. If we can keep him upright, this dude is going to take this organization, places he dreamed of. Knock on wood, baby.
All right. I look at it like this. I don't think either team will be able to run on the other. But I think the Bengals' pass defense is better than the Bills. I think the Bills secondary is not very good. I think the Bengals will be able to score points. I think Josh Allen is special, though. He'll be able to score them, too. I'm going to say Bengals 35, Bills 31, and then we'll beat the Ravens 128-3, Joe. But hold on. Okay, Joseph wants to jump through some tables with you, Ty, on Monday.
If anybody gets in my way, that might happen. I don't think my wife's going to this game, so it get crazy when I have somebody supervise me.
Oh, you're taking me then, Ty? Ty's taking me to the game, Joe. His wife's not coming. I'm sure he would invite me.
Okay, all right.
But somebody. I probably go stop off at the Joe Kelly tailgate party, which can get me all hyped up, and then I'll be ready to jump.
Ty ignoring that tells me that he's probably not bringing me to the game.
I already have somebody going, unfortunately.
Oh, okay. Somebody more important.
Yeah.
Hopefully it's like your daughter or something.
Blood.
Screw blood.
Good
All right, guys. Go ahead. We're gonna go ahead. Any final comments before we wrap it up?
The University of Washington, we're in the Alamo Bowl versus Texas.
Oh, you they go to slam the Texas Longhorns tonight too.
We should. I want to put 40, 50 on them.
I think Washington's got everybody playing in this bowl game too, don't they?
I believe so. Yeah. Big man. He's got some unfinished business. So I'm liking where Husky Nation is, and
the Huskies are somehow an underdog in this game, aren't they?
Yeah. A 10 team being an underdog, in the Alamo, bad enough we have to play in the Alamo Bowl, or to play in the bowl, but that is what it is. Hopefully the guys can go Husky Nation and get this thing done, baby.
So if you want, go to the top sportsbook comparison site, betting.net. It'll give you the best place in your state to bet on the Washington Huskies tonight. Take the underdogs, bet them straight up to win because they will win the game tonight. I did write an article on it a few days before talking to Joe, so Joe's not influencing me. Michael Penix is going to line it up tonight. Michael Penix is going to go off tonight. Huskies are going to win this game by 10 points at least. But, all right, guys, you can follow Ty at Ty's Take, correct? On Twitter, yep. Ty?
On
Joe,
Twitter.
ain't you got a Twitter?
Facebook guy, man. I gotta get.
You go ahead and have your wife set you up with a Twitter, Joe.
I know. They'll hook me up, man, and get me going on this social media thing, man.
All right, you can follow me at Grueling Truth. And there's one more thing I want to bring up before we wrap it up here. If you're into social casinos, even if you're not, sign up with stake.us and use our exclusive promo code TGT Social, all capital letters, to secure your unique 5% rakeback bonus. Make sure you check them out there for all your social casino needs. Guys, we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. We will be back next week, hopefully to preview a win over the Baltimore Ravens. Hopefully we'll be debating whether the starters should play or not next weekend. But until then, for Joe Kelly, Ty Robbins, I'm Mike Goodpaster. You've been watching and listening to The Grueling Truth, where the